morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gina Trotter, and I will introduce to you my belly dancing belt. NWs might sound like a foreign language to you, but to many of my Navy brothers and sisters, it's a uniform that we wear with pride when we are performing our job in the United States Navy. 7 o'clock might not ring a bell, but that was the time for quarters on board the ship. I'm a proud Navy veteran. I served on the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower from October 2011 to June 2015. Sometimes you can end up going places you could have never imagined you can go. You have to experience life by trusting your intuition. The background of the Navy. It was founded October 13, 1775. It is the branch of the military that monitors forces at sea. In 1978, women were allowed to join the Navy, and we transformed the Navy for the better. I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. As many of you can know, that Gary, Indiana isn't the ideal place. It was actually murder capital about probably 10 years ago, and it's still that way. My mother raised me, and my father, he left when I was 7 years old, but I still kept in contact with him. It was like he never left. He always checked on me, asked about how my grades were. My mother had bipolar disorder, so she was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sometimes I got nurturing, and other times I got mean, and I didn't know why. 40% of mothers suffer with mental illnesses in the United States. Sometimes I remember the lights being cut off, and eventually the water, and we had to go to our next door neighbor house to get fresh water and to wash our clothes. And I can remember going to bed hungry sometimes. When I was 13 years old, my mother decided to move to Cincinnati, Ohio. I began to do better in school because before that, when I was in Gary, Indiana, because of the stress that I was going through, I decided not to go. But when we moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, I ended up doing better in school, and I was more focused on my grades. Eventually, I decided to move with my father because he had a better life than what I had, and I thought I could have a better life going with him. So eventually, I moved when I was 16, and I wanted to go to college. And I asked my dad. I said, "Dad, I found this nice college called Milligan University in Milligan, Tennessee." And he said, "Well, big, I can't afford that." So I said, "What about scholarships?" And he said, "Well, I'm on Social Security, I can't afford that." So I started looking at opportunities and options to start paying for college, and that's when I came upon the Navy, because they pay for your schooling. So I decided to join, but because of that, when I went, they told me that I had to lose 10 pounds. I was 157 pounds at the time. I thought I was a normal weight. So I ended up losing 20 pounds, and I was 137. But this postponed me a couple of months from joining. So I joined the Navy July 5th, 2011. I thought boot camp was easy, but it was hard. I became a runner. And for you who don't know what a runner is, I had trouble with passing my run to graduate. So eventually I passed my run, and I was able to graduate and go on to A school and eventually go to the fleet. My first deployment was a month after I arrived on the ship. 41.9% of sailors reported their deployment lasting 7 to 9 months. I traveled 6 different countries: Portugal, Bahrain, Dubai, Spain, Italy, France, and Greece. My favorite country was Spain, but Bahrain stuck out to me. Well, I think that's because I love food, and they have some delicious food. It was something called shawarma, which was kind of like a gyro, and it was drizzled in white sauce. It was so good. This was back when I was eating meat. I'm sorry, I just got off track. Another reason was the safari trip. We was on Humvee, so it was like a roller coaster ride. It was so fun. It was 110-degree weather. Later on that day, we was able to experience a belly dance to do her belly dancing. This woman was so beautiful. She was laced in purple with gold coins hanging off kind of like this. And the way her body moved, it was like a flowing river. It was amazing. She possessed the femininity that I adore. And I knew something special about what she had on. So the next day, Liberty Buddy is somebody, probably about 3 to 5 people at the max that you go out when you're in the Navy to make sure nothing bad happens. So me and my Liberty Buddies went out the next day, and I stumbled upon a stand. It was a stand full of beautiful belly dancing belts, yellow, red, green, but the one that stuck out to me was this one right here. This is my baby. It cost $5 binary dollars. American money wasn't worth a lot. $5 binary dollars is equal to $1 in American money. We're poor over there. My accomplishments in the Navy. I started off as an undesignated seaman. That was somebody who worked with the boatswain mates. Boatswain mates, they used to paint the ship paint, and stuff like that. They did all the grunt work. So I joined and I started off as an undesignated seaman. Well, within a year, I was able to cross-rate to OS, which was a operational specialist. I was able to make third-class petty officer within 6 months. Navy advancement for petty officers dropped from 27% to 2% last year. I was awarded the Medal of Good Conduct for being in the Navy for 3 years without trouble. I ended up getting my ESWAS, but you know what? The most important thing was my DD-214 papers, and I got out that mud last year. The end of tour. Well, after I got out, I didn't save any money. I was spending. I'm not even gonna lie. So that effect was being broke and making $20 last to God knows however long I was able to get a check. So gourmet meals was ramen noodles or Burger King and McDonald's. Eventually, I sold my military uniforms and the rest of my clothes I bought overseas just to make ends meet. The only thing I had left was my baby. When I was in that terrible time, I don't call it terrible time. I feel like the struggle making who you are. When I was in that time, I thought about it. I said, well, you know what, Gina? You joined the Navy to do something. Why not do it? So here I am at Tidewater Community College, and I'm in business administration, and my career goal was to be an accountant. My belly dancing belt might not have cost a lot, but I look to it in desperate times when I need the bravery to better myself and my challenges. It reminds me that I joined the United States Navy, and not many of those get that opportunity. It's something I can pass on to my future children and let them know that it's not where you come from, it's how hard you are willing to work to make your dream a reality. Thank you.